Mansfield tutorial today based on your requests. You guys have been requesting this for quite a few years, but not being a blonde, I felt like it was kind of weird to do it. But anyway, I'm a little bit blonder now, so we'll go ahead and do this tutorial. The majority of people that you see that do a Jayne Mansfield style today will typically use hot rollers, and really it is the easiest way to achieve that sort of late 50s, early 60s volume that Jayne Mansfield had going on. If you're a straight-haired gal and you want to achieve those deep waves that you see in the earlier photos of Jayne Mansfield, then you will need to start with a wet set. You'll need to do either very small pin curls or smaller rollers. Like, I'm a straight-haired gal, so that's how I know this, but you'll need to start with smaller rollers and start with a lot of frizz and a lot of curl, and then brush and brush and brush and brush until you develop that deep, deep wave. But for the purpose of this tutorial, just to kind of show you the general technique that would be required to get this sort of style, then I'm just going to use hot rollers today. So I'm using my Remington tight curls, and I'm doing this on second day hair. You can see this hair has been previously styled. This is a leftover pin curl set. So that's going to give the hair a lot more to build on when it comes to product and when it comes to volume. And I'm going to go ahead and use these small rollers because that's going to give me a little bit more curl, but of course it won't have the longevity of a wet set. So keep that in mind if you are a poker straight girl like me. If you have wave in your hair, you can use larger pin curls and hot rollers to achieve this effect. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and roll this on camera, so we'll probably cut to some music. But that's, yeah, that's it. Let's roll.
Stop your move when he blow that horn, yeah, yeah. Keep up when he's ready to go. Don't take it slow. Blow it for me, baby, no stopping, just let it blow. Blow, blow, blow.
You know, Jayne Mansfield, like Marilyn Monroe, got quite a rap for her personal life. She was in a lot of relationships that were very publicized, and she received quite a reputation because of that. However, she was known as a very kind person. She was also very much a family lady. She had several children, and she carried them around with her on her sets when she was doing her nightclub act. I think that's definitely worth mentioning. She didn't believe someone else should raise her children for her.
Well, blow for me, baby, no stopping, just let it blow. Hey! Well, if they wiggle and they shake, then it's all right with me. Ain't gotta do nothing to prove when you're stomping your feet. Don't follow my moves, feel the rhythm on your own.
Pink was her signature color. She wanted everyone to know her by pink, so she drove a pink car. She wore pink all the time. She wanted people to know that that was her. She fell madly in love with Mr. Universe, which was, his last name was Hargitay, and you will know one of their daughters by the name of Mariska Hargitay, who is actually in a television star now. Mr. Universe was Mickey Hargitay, and he was actually Hungarian, I believe. He and Jayne were very much family people, and they loved their children, but as her career took off and she became more and more busy, their marriage suffered, but they were always very good friends. And Jayne was not known to be a really great or successful actress. She wasn't really known to be a great actress, but she was a great performer, and she had a stage show, a very successful run as a nightclub act in Las Vegas, and that also toured. And she was much more well known for her stage performances than she was for her movies, even though we remember her as a movie star now from films like Girl Can't Help It. This was initially going to be a Diamonds and Dames episode, but I decided that this is more of an iconic look than it is a style from that particular film. When you see her pictures, those are what she was most well known for, not necessarily her movies. So therefore she was a lot more of a photo celebrity, an iconic. She was an iconic bombshell of the time. She died at the age of 34. She was very young. She had quite a few children. I think she had 4 or 5 children, and she died when she was 34 years old in an automobile accident. And regardless of what you may have heard, she was not decapitated. The news falsely reported that to begin with, but it was not true. She was not decapitated, but she was in a very horrible car accident, and that's how she died. And her children, 2 of her children were actually in the back seat and only suffered minor injuries. And they remember the accident. Wouldn't that be a horrible thing to remember? But anyway, I think she had some things about her that make it worthwhile to research her as opposed to just accepting her for her photos and what you see of her in films. Like Marilyn Monroe, she had a lot to her. Okay, so we have rolled our hair, and I rolled all of the top hair back, and then I rolled the side hair down. So we're gonna let these rollers get completely cool, probably a good 30 minutes at least before we decide we're gonna brush them out. And I will see you then. Hello. Okay, so now we're back to styling. And the things that you're gonna need are some type of fine bristled, kind of like natural style bristle brush. This is a teasing brush. You'll also need a styling brush. This is a Denman styling brush. It is really stiff, like nylon plastic bristles, so this is really good for brushing out any type of tight curls or brushing in some waves. You'll also need a comb, rat tail comb for sectioning, and you'll need a good hairspray. I do not recommend this hairspray as a base for teasing because it is a very wet hairspray. This is only for finishing. We will use dry shampoo for teasing. And then I did spray Layrite grooming spray all over my set when I was finished to help with hold. So now I'm going to start taking these curls down, and I'm going to try to take them down as deliberately as possible so that they are not pulled out in the process. So I'm going to kind of spiral them around. Okay, so now that we've got all of our rollers out, we're going to go ahead and just do a light brush through. Got a lot of product in here, so these are going to be pretty durable. And this being a late 50s style, we're going to make sure that we harness the curl in sort of a fluffy way instead of in a wave pattern. And you can see how much volume is already here on the top. We're going to do something that's a little more signature to Jayne Mansfield, which is a very, very deep side part that is against your natural part, is actually more like a comb over. That's something she was known for. I don't think it was her most flattering look, but it was definitely the look she was most iconic for. So we're going to take our little, teasing comb works better for this, and we're going to pull it in right here, about an inch farther than I would typically do it. About there. Okay, so now all of this extra hair that was here is now on top of your head. And this was also similar to something that Jane Russell did. Okay, so you really don't need all that much teasing because this is so extreme here. Alright, and then I'm going to take my teasing comb, or I'm going to take my, teasing comb, and I'm going to take this front section and I'm going to spray a little dry shampoo at the root. And I'm going to start to tease in the manner that I showed you in my teasing video, which is very slow, very deliberate, all the way to the ends. Starting where the tease leaves off and going all the way to the end. That's going to give you the most height, the most volume. Okay, and now we're going to take our brush and we're going to bring a little more structure back into it. So I'm going to kind of brush back on this comb over section and over to the side. And once you have a little bit of the semblance of what that wave is going to become in your hair, I want you to take a little hairspray and spray it into place. So you can see it has that kind of outward bend here. Okay, and then I'm going to just take my brush and start to brush some more structure into this section as well. You can see that wave coming back in now. take individual sections and start pulling this 60s out of it a little bit and pulling some more 50s in. Making the curls just a little more defined, a little more combination of fluffy. Anytime you see something that you want to stick with, spray it. I want to make this a little more drastic. I'm going to spray it with my comb pulling this way. There we go. So this section's looking about like I'd like it to. I'm going to spray it to finish, and that's also going to give it that shine. You can add a, let me pin this curl into place so it stays put.
And I'm sitting here wondering, what did I do wrong?
So after you have sprayed it, you can take a look at it and see if it's exactly like you want it to look. If it's not, you can add an accessory to cover up any spots that you feel like are not quite up to par, that you don't really care for. For a fall event, I have this great feather fascinator here. And I don't know, I think it's something that's suitable for your more fancied up occasions. If you want to make an entrance and you want to make an appearance. And very much Jayne. So I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you have any other requests, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Back home. If he gives me a chance, I'll improve my romance, and I will love him.